Alright, hi everybody. I'm sorry this is late. It's about 7:45. This is fall 2011 bio. And I'm hoping that you're watching this video tonight. This is a really quick one that I'm going to do for you, and it won't even be a PowerPoint. It's going to be some websites I want to show you. Right behind me there, you'll see the Moodle site, and I want you to take a look at the Moodle site tonight or today. And I've actually got a bunch of good links on here, but the one that I'm going to actually show you is called Cells Alive. Remember, we're in kind of a cancer unit, so we're talking about cells and how they divide. And one of the best places to learn about cells and to practice the cell parts too is this website called Cells Alive. And I got to it through my Moodle page. And the link you would want to link on, as you can see where with my cursor right here, is on Cell Cycle. And I'm going to stop that sound for a second there, and I'll tell you about this. This is a cycle, so it's in a circle, and these are cells right here, these two blue things. And if you can look here, you'll see there's actually four colors. One is red, one is yellow, one is blue, and one is white. And I'm actually going to start at the yellow, and the yellow and the blue and the white all together are called interphase. Yellow, blue, and white. The yellow, blue, and white are called interphase. The red part, when the cell actually splits into two cells, is actually called mitosis. So there's this interphase, inter means between, and then there's this part where the cell divides, and that's called mitosis. So mitosis and in between mitosis. So this big, huge yellow, blue, white part is called the interphase. And you can see this discussed down here at the bottom. I'll let you read this on your own. You can always pause this or go to the website from Moodle. And I'll go back up, and then basically it's split like this. Interphase is split into the three colors, yellow, blue, and white. This yellow part here is called the gap phase. We tend to have it called the G1 and the G0 stage. Both of these are stages where the cell is kind of resting and growing a little bit and resting, kind of like when you're a little child. The blue line right here is called synthesis. During this stage, the DNA inside the nucleus has to replicate. If a cell is going to divide to make two new cells, then it has to have an exact copy of all the DNA put into the other cell. So during this blue synthesis stage, the DNA is replicating, and we're going to talk about that in the next unit a little bit more. S phase, the complete DNA instructions are duplicated. And then this last white part is called the gap 2 phase, and that's another period of growth and kind of rest. So G1, G0, then synthesis, and then another second growth gap period. And we call those G1, G0, S, and G2. Together it's called interphase. And then this part here, the red, is called mitosis, and that's actually when the cell divides. So I'm going to hit play on this and show you this real quick, and you can see the cell actually divide. There's the DNA doubling, some more growth, and then an actual division into two cells. And the same thing happens again. DNA replicates, the cell will then split into two new cells. Now, I'm going to show you in the next part of this website, this actual mitosis part, just this part. For the rest of the movie here, this G1, S, and G2 is just going to be called interphase. Okay, interphase. So I'll go over here and I'll click on mitosis, and that's a picture of a cell, and in the upper left hand corner right here is an actual cell. And I don't know how great the video is going to come out, so I would recommend you watch this on the actual website too. But this is interphase with the growth and the DNA replicating. And then what happens during the second stage, which is the actual first part of cell division, but the second kind of main part, is called prophase. Prophase is, as you can see there, the DNA is already replicated. And these are two structures that are called centrioles, and they help make some fibers that are going to stretch across the cell in just a couple minutes. So that's called prophase. By the way, interphase is what the cell is in for almost its whole life, and only does it enter mitosis, the rest of this part that I'm showing you now, it only enters that when it wants to divide. So most of the time it's in interphase, then prophase. The next stage is called metaphase, and at this point all the chromosomes that are replicated line up in the middle of the cell. So I think of meta as middle. right here. And these two things here are called the centrioles, and these long green strings are called spindle fibers or fibers. Now again, you're going to have to probably watch this more than once, or if this was a lecture, I'd probably have to say it a couple times. So watch it a couple times. But they line up in the middle and they're attached to these fibers, and these fibers are actually going to start to pull the cell apart. And you can see the cell is stretching out there. The fibers are really stretching. And here, if you look at the colors even, we have an exact identical same here as we do on this side. Because during prophase, or during interphase, during that S phase, the DNA duplicates. So prophase, you can see it thickening up there. You can see it duplicated. You can start to see these fibers. Metaphase, you can start to see really the fibers in the centrioles, and the chromosomes are lined up straight down the middle. Then the cell starts to pull itself apart, and that's called anaphase. I always think of Anna being apart. Anna, apart. And then the cell finally, right towards the end, almost is about ready to pinch into two brand new cells, and that's called telophase. It tends to have this kind of curved peanut look to it, where it's kind of a little bit thinner in the middle here. It's starting to pinch in the middle. And the last phase is called cytokinesis, and that's where the cell actually splits, and now we have two new cells. The nucleus reforms again. During prophase, the nucleus starts to disappear, and by metaphase, the nucleus is totally gone. Notice there's no nucleus there. Anaphase, they move apart. Telophase, they start to pinch in, and cytokinesis means cell splitting or cell movement, and this is where the cell gets split into two brand new cells. And then each of those cells goes back into interphase, and the whole thing starts again, and it stays in interphase for that whole G0, G1, S, and G2. And that again is based on that last page that I showed you a second ago where it says cell cycle. So everything that I just talked about with prophase and metaphase and anaphase and telophase and cytokinesis is all part of this red. This yellow, blue and white all together is called interphase. So the cell is for most of its life in this stage. The mitosis thing I showed you is just starting at prophase, and that's just the red part of that other picture. I'll hit play here. Line up in the middle, move apart, split just about there, and start it again. Do it one more time for you, and then I'll say goodnight. Thickened up chromosomes, lined up in the middle, splitting apart, and two new cells. So then those cells will go back, and if you're looking at the cell cycle, those cells will then get back into the yellow there, and then into the blue. They'll replicate their DNA, they'll enter the gap2 phase, and then they'll start doing the actual prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase that I showed you right here. I highly recommend you just use these sites. They're really easy, and you can click like I did and go step by step. And if you look down here, there's tons of writing of what I just said, so you just have to kind of know the main things, and you'll see the names of the parts I just said. Hope that makes sense. I tried to go quick, so have a great night, and I'm going to post this right now.